Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, June 12, 2024. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. There is a buzz about Destination St. Vincent and the Grenadines within the travel industry. This is according to Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sustainable Development, Carlos James, who was addressing a news conference today on his return from a travel leaders conference in Washington, D.C. Minister James said he was happy to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the conference and to promote Destination SVG as the Caribbean's best-kept secret to the 2,000-plus travel advisors who are in attendance at the conference.
And everyone in the industry, you're looking forward to visiting and also sending clients to St. Vincent so they can have what I would say is an experience that they've never had before here in Ireland. We completed the conference just yesterday, and I headed off from there to JFK en route to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I landed at Argyle, and I must tell you, coming in on the flight, again, there was a buzz and excitement. A lot of Bangladeshis, nationals of Bangladesh, who were coming here to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Most of them coming here, if not all of them, for the first time. And they also were excited about, coming here, looking at their team playing here on island, and being a part of, what we will consider to be one of the biggest preparations we've had for a World Cup here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So quite a few exciting things in relation to the ICC.
Regarding accommodation for the ICC T20 World Cup matches to take place here, Minister James said they are seeing an interesting period in bookings this month with over 75% occupancy across all accommodations, and some of the major accommodations are close to 90% or even at 100%.
Our numbers are showing that there are about 4,000 nights that have been booked for the World Cup, this ICC T20 World Cup here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is across various suites of hotels, including Grenadine House, Beach Comas, Sunset Shores, Young Island, Paradise Beach Hotel, Hotel Alexandrina, La View Sandals, and quite a number of the smaller boutique hotels and Airbnbs as well. So that's 4,000 nights of bookings, which is attributed to this ICC T20 World Cup. And the bookings that we are looking at, where we can confirm now, are shared among the teams and technical crews, along with visitors who are coming to look at the World Cup. We have been tracking these bookings, and all the major hotels, as I said, they're showing 75% occupancy and up. And as I said earlier, this will no doubt get closer to 100% in the coming days. And as we move closer to Vincimas, and there's another exciting story to tell you about that later. But in relation to the technical staff and ground crew for the ICC World Cup, they account for about close to 200 rooms alone. So 200 of those rooms are just technical ground staff and crew and persons who are coming here to be support staff to the teams as well as the ICC and Cricket West Indies. The cricket teams would account for about over 1,400 rooms over the duration of the games. There are quite a few games here. Some of the teams will stay on for a 5-day interval. Some will move and then come back if they're able to move into the final qualifying round, the Super 8. But we have so far on schedule to see 1,400 or so plus rooms just going to the teams alone, and 200 rooms for technical crew and technical staff who are coming to support whether it's the teams or the ICC in their preparation for the games.
Minister James said they are working with smaller accommodations and those registered with the SVG Tourism Authority and Airbnb to provide additional accommodation for more people coming for the matches, particularly for the Super 8 matches.
If most of the hotels are over, on average, they're over 75% But the larger hotels are pretty much in the 90s and up. They've pretty much gone past that 75% capacity in terms of their bookings. What is going to happen in the final 2 games here is that we're going to be short on available room stock. And I'm encouraging those who are signed on to Airbnb, those who have not signed on to the Tourism Authority as licensed providers, to get in touch with the Tourism Authority, get in touch with the Ministry of Tourism. I know there are some 100 plus registered Airbnb operators within the radius of the cricket ground, spanning Arnoldsville back to the windward and the leeward side of the island. And we're encouraging you to get in touch with the Tourism Authority. Let us see how we can work with you to facilitate the additional rooms that are going to be needed in the final 2 games here for the cricket ICC T20 World Cup. It is going to be important that we work closely with you in relation to that. So this aspect of the room stock presents its challenge, and I said very earlier in a few presentations before that our government's aim is to add another 1,200 rooms to the destination. So far, by mid-year of 2024, we would be down to about having just needed another 800 or so of those rooms. And when you talk about the inclusion of Sandals and the opening of Holiday Inn Express, which is very soon, we're going to be down to about maybe 800 or so, which we'll need very urgently in order for us to ramp up what will be an aggressive marketing drive and getting people to our island and hosting a number of activities and events over the coming months, starting with the ICC Cricket World Cup, Vinci-Mas. There's the Pending Music Festival in October, 9 mornings, and a number of other activities to climax this year's period.
On air traffic, Minister James said they are also seeing a spike in air transportation bookings to SVG, particularly for the summer period.
One air carrier is showing an over 75% load factor up to the end of August. And that's so far. As we get closer to the summer period, we're going to see a lot more bookings to the destination. Flights begin in the week of Carnival and following the week after Carnival, coming out of Toronto, Pearson, they're already 99.4% capacity from Toronto. And I can assure you that there's something special happening in Canada, in our market there. And if Air Canada had additional equipment in terms of planes, we would have more flights over the summer coming in from Toronto. But the challenge is, of course, a shortage of equipment and staff. I know there's the Olympics taking place in Paris, and a lot of the airlines are going to be looking at having that transatlantic route as a profitable one for them. But we are seeing, even during the Carnival, 99.4% capacity in terms of coming out of Canada. New York and Miami are also showing some very positive numbers in terms of the average bookings. They're well over 75% from the North American carriers in that market. And we're seeing considerable growth. And we're also predicting a similar growth over the winter period. Regarding regional air access, this is something we continue to work on with the airlines and the respective CARICOM governments. And I'm optimistic that we'll get it right. Of course, at some point, we'll be working closely with Inter-Caribbean, and the CEO for Inter-Caribbean was in St. Vincent and the Grenadines a few weeks ago. We've had some discussions. I've had discussions with Caribbean Airlines as well, and we're hoping to see how we can ramp up the intra-regional traffic to St. Vincent and destination St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Minister James further told the news conference that the increase in hotel accommodations, air traffic, and other work in tourism are putting into sharp focus and interested period in the local sector. Despite all major preparations completed at the Arnoldsville Sporting Complex, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is not ruling out that there would be minor issues for the start of the ICC T20 World Cup matches here tomorrow, Thursday, June 13, 2024. On radio today, Prime Minister Gonsalves identified some of the possible unfinished works that may still exist, but which will not impact tomorrow's match day.
I'm sure, given the enterprise and the short period of time we had, Johnny P., you will find maybe this particular area should have been proper, with it being clean as it should have been. You might find that there's a tile which wasn't scrubbed properly. Yeah, you may find, like anytime you move in a new house now. But I think the important things, the field is in excellent shape. Some persons raised with me there was a little brown patch towards the backway end, which had to be dug out because there was something there which had to be dealt with, something underground. That's outside the boundary.
Tour of the renovated Annisvale Sporting Facility was held 2 days ago, where the pitch, lights and other newly installed equipment were tested. Prime Minister Gonzalez at the time expressed satisfaction with the work done. And there will be some changes to the flow of traffic for the ICC T20 cricket matches to be played at the Annisvale playing field starting tomorrow, Thursday, June 13, 2024. The traffic branch of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force says there will be no major disruption to the traffic flow to and from Annisvale during the games, and that motorists and commuters are asked to take note of the following. Motorists traveling from the windward side of the island into Kingston are asked to adhere to the following guidelines. The area to the Annisvale playing field and the tarmac will be closed to vehicular traffic between the hours of 3:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Thursday, June 13, 2024, except for patrons attending the games. The police say on Friday, June 14, 2024 and Sunday, June 16, 2024, the road to the tarmac will be closed between the hours of 1 p.m. to 2 a.m. These times will also apply for the games on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024 and Monday, June 24, 2024. Persons conducting business at the Joshua Center will use the main entrance to the tarmac on these days. Motorists traveling from the roundabout will make a left turn at the gate closest to CK Graves. Persons attending the games will travel across the tarmac, make a right turn and park on the northern side of the tarmac. Police officers will be on duty to direct patrons to appropriate parking areas. VIPs and other officials with official tags coming from the windward side will travel across the tarmac, make a left turn and park in a designated area close to the secondary schools. Motorists traveling from the leeward side of the island and Kingstown to Annisvale will take the normal entrance to the tarmac and make a left turn towards the northern side of the tarmac. Police officers will direct you accordingly. The police say on match days, all parking will be on the northern side of the tarmac except for VIPs and other officials. VIPs and other officials with official tags coming from the leeward side in Kingstown will enter at the same gate, make a right turn and park in a designated area close to the secondary schools. Entry into the Annisvale Cricket Stadium, only patrons with VIP passes, players and match officials will be allowed to enter the Annisvale Stadium through the main entrance. All other ticket holders, including VIPs and other officials, will enter the stadium from the southern side of the tarmac next to the girls' high school. Traffic officers are expected to be in place in strategic areas to ensure that the free flow of traffic is maintained. All motorists and commuters are strongly encouraged to be law-abiding and comply with the instructions of the traffic officers. 442 Arud farmers will soon receive income support from the government. This was announced by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on NBC Radio's face-to-face program this morning. The Prime Minister said that the Cabinet approved EC $426,000 for the income support.
This is income support. You know, when they didn't harvest their rhizomes because of soufre, we did a half payment and they did a quarter payment in 2 successive years. Well, this is to provide income support for them who, these are farmers who are now delayed because the Arud factory now had been destroyed. And we are not yet, we are in the process of building the other one. Right. And this was for these 242 persons.
The Prime Minister explained that Arut farmers who will receive the income support rely on Arut as their sole produce.
For most of them, it was one of their principal sources of income. Of course, there are one or two on the list you will see who have other things doing, but that's not unusual. That some farmers will be doing other things. But the bulk of these are persons who depend greatly on agriculture. So we're giving them 25% of their sales, their last sales before the volcanic eruption.
Okay.
As a support.
The income support is part of the World Bank's US $10 million loan. The Prime Minister said in addition to the income support, other farmers can also benefit from various types of support.
We got it and put it under the UBEC, that is the Blue Economy project. It's not really so much blue economy, this agricultural one, though there's a fishing component. But it was the easiest place to put it, ourselves and the World Bank, to get quick disbursement, rather than start another project and so on. And they agreed on that. And this covers, there's a crop and home garden component involving production implements, irrigation, greenhouses, cool chain equipment, and planting materials. There's a livestock equipment, component with breeding stock and day-old chicks, artificial insemination for cattle, pigs, and goats, and production kits.
The government's building material distribution will continue. However, the funds to purchase materials have not yet been approved. This is according to Prime Minister Gonzalez, who on NBC Radio Face-to-Face program today explained that a portion of the funds to be used to purchase the materials is from the $35 million from the Saudi loan.
We were waiting on the approvals in Parliament until we had finalized the agreement with the Saudis. Remember, I reported that we have $35 million, which we've borrowed for housing.
Yeah.
A component of it is building materials.
Okay.
So I was waiting that, and we're buying locally, but we are also buying through Tanquil in Jamaica, which is the biggest operation regionally in with building materials. So I'm expecting that they will. Tanquil had been alerted before, but they weren't acting on it until they knew that you have all your resources at hand to proceed. You know what I mean? But they're good people. We have a good relationship with them.
The Prime Minister urged people who are applying for materials to be reasonable, noting that some individuals apply for materials to build an entire new house. He reminded people that building materials are primarily for volcano-affected persons whose homes were damaged, but consideration is also given to those not in the red zone of the volcano.
These building materials are to help Johnny P. in repairing some houses which were damaged in Suffolk, which are not yet repaired. Bulk of them are repaired. And we have built new houses, and we have some more still to build. And in other constituencies outside of the quote-unquote red zones, people have needs, and we have to help them too. But I'm urging persons, when you're asking for materials, not because we are generous, don't put down the material. Don't go to a construction, a man, you say, I want materials, and you basically put down all the materials like to construct a house. Because that's not what that's for. This is for materials to assist in doing your repairs and the like. It's not for you to build a house.
Provisions are in place for those who would like to build a new home, and according to the Prime Minister, people can also apply for that type of support.
Program where you go to Housing and Land Development Corporation, and you also go to the bank, and you do the usual mortgage arrangements with Housing and Land Development Corporation as an intermediary and builder, and we'll do it cheaper for you. Housing and Land Development Corporation obviously don't have a permanent staff of carpenters and masons. They will They will have to get them too, and workers. So if somebody wants to build a house from scratch, there's a low-income housing program in which you can go towards. And we build houses, for instance, at Peter's Hope, at Diamond. I'm giving Green Hill, Clare Valley, Otley Hall, and so on. But those are under those particular arrangements.
The Rural Transformation Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, is hosting the National Home Garden Competition 2024. The competition will run from July 1st to October 31st, 2024. Speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Permanent Secretary Narissa Gittins-McMillan said the initiative is excellent as homeowners are given the opportunity to grow their choice of produce for their consumption and to earn funds. Gittins-McMillan emphasized that the dramatic increase in the cost of food, this initiative is an ideal opportunity to reduce the food input bill.
You would agree with me that you don't just grow sufficient for just a meal, but that if ever there are crops, if ever there are other commodities that the homeowner is using, can be sold and can earn. It's a home garden competition, because you do not need an elaborate amount of space, that is land, to do whatever it is you're doing. The competition can be, as you have heard, for crops, for animals, or a combination of both. You have a choice. And I am sure that based on previous history, that a number of individuals would enjoy and be part of this particular initiative. Again, it is going to help you nutritionally and financially if you want it to be. I assure you that the prizes would be significant. For those individuals who would win, you would be pleased. And if you don't win,
Senior Technical Officer Corel Thompson-Fergus said that over the years, the Ministry of Agriculture has seen an increase in demand for home gardens as people tackle the rising cost of food and strive to maintain access to food. Additionally, the ministry is advancing plans to launch a home garden association by August 2024.
Would provide technical advice and other forms of assistance under this particular competition. The general public is invited to apply and to register. They can register in one of three categories, either in crops, livestock, or as a mix, that is crop and livestock. So if someone chooses to apply under crop, those crops could be anything, vegetable, root crop, or any item along the crop or mixed. If they choose to apply under livestock, we only allow two types of livestock under this competition, that chicks and rabbits. So if one chooses to apply and to have chicks, they can have up to no more than 50 layers and no more than 100 broilers. And for rabbits, no more than 50, because we still want to make sure that it is a home garden competition and not like a farm. The size of the lot on which the garden is established should not exceed 4,000 square feet.
Meanwhile, Thompson-Fergus provided an overview of the competition's criteria.
This would be judged between September and October. Other than technical advice and training, we would not be providing any other sort of input, just to prevent preference to one type of crop or be charged with giving preference, just in case your crop was not germinate. You don't want to be charged with giving wrong seeds, wrong type of seed and all of that. So we provide technical advice and you organize your own participation. So we would be judging in 7 different categories, and there are a number of prizes to be won. The prizes are very exciting and I think will motivate you. More information is on the registration form as to those categories. Those would be management of livestock, management of crops, sustainability, use of technology, record keeping. In this case, we will provide a format for record keeping because we want to ensure sustainability going forward, and we'll train you how to keep records and the best use of space as well as diversity. I think this competition presents an opportunity for home gardeners to be part of a win-win situation. You get to produce what you like, you get to produce crop, you get to feed your family, but you also get to be rewarded for it.